Recording an album was always something that I wanted to do from probably, it was sometime in junior high when Mariah Carey's album came out that I was like, this is what I want to do. I'd always done theater growing up and had been dancing, and that was my creative outlet up until that point. But as soon as that album came out, I was like, this is what I want to do, I think. Once I got to New York, you know, auditioning in the daytime for the chorus of Les Mis, and at night I was going down into the Village to like R&B competitions. So it's always been a push-pull for me. Towards the end of my run in Wicked on the tour, I just knew that if I didn't leave and get myself as far away as possible, there would always be something or some excuse for me not to completely just commit myself to making the album. And you know, stuff had happened in my own personal life that had rocked me enough to know that just time was not necessarily on my side for doing this. And I was like, I can't let another day go by without this dream being fulfilled. I started writing and recording, and you know, all the while thinking that still something else was going to pop off, or some other management team or some other label would pick me up, and all of a sudden you know, after just looking right at the step that was right before me, like, you know, this vocal needs to be laid and this drum track needs to be replaced with real drums, like just going one step in front of the other, all of a sudden I turned around and I had like an entire album done, and you know, there it is.
Now I was in bed with my man, dead asleep last night. His phone starts ringing, so I turn on the light. Now I passed him his phone from my side of the bed. I glanced at the screen, and this is what it said now.
Actually, the very first song that I wrote that is actually on the album is Naomi, and I wrote it with Titus Burgess, who is a big Broadway star. I had this idea based on experience somewhat for this song, and Titus was the first person I called. Titus, it's Shoshana. Listen, I have an idea for this song, and it's going to be called Naomi, so just toy with that. We're going to hook up. And of course, our schedules, like, it took us forever to actually hook up and do it, but I remember calling him and being like, I want you to do this with me. And by the time we met, he had like all these ideas, and that was the first song. That was the jump off for the album.
Is she calling you at 1:45? Baby boy, you got some explaining to do. Is there a call from Naomi?
I didn't know how you got my number. When she called,
what are you talking about?
I didn't remember who she was.
That is a lie.
She kept talking about some show called Wicked. I never heard of it. The name, first of all, like Naomi, it just sounded like such a ghetto, brilliant name. So we sort of like went to town, and I came up with like a little bass line, and she told me some of the ideas that she had already had for the song, and it just kind of like snowballed. It wasn't terribly hard to write or to finish.
For me to be able to put this debut album out with a fellow Broadway performer who wrote on it, I have fellow Broadway performers singing on it. It's all of me encompassed in this project, and so I'm so proud to look back and know that the first song I wrote that's on the album, I'm getting goosebumps.
There are a lot of people who want to do what you're doing, and there are a lot of people who don't, you know, who've got the dream but not the guts. So sister, bravo to you. I'm looking forward to hearing the whole thing because I haven't heard it. I just heard my song, and that's the best one. Just kidding.
Why you calling my man? Don't you know I'm lying here with him? I'm lying here with you. It's down in the morning. Don't you make me act a fool on you, Naomi. You don't know me. Oh, Naomi, find a man of your own. Go on ahead and leave mine alone. Naomi, find a man of your own. Go on ahead and leave mine alone. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Superhero is definitely one of the most pop R&B songs on the album, I think. It's got the most contemporary vibe of any other track on the album. Initially, I heard a track. My producer, Drew Kapner, who produced probably 80% of the album, gave me a CD full of tracks at one point. We were almost done, and we just had a couple more songs, and we knew we needed one more up-tempo. And at that point, we had done a lot of live instruments, and so I wasn't really writing to track anymore. But I heard this track, and I was like, when you hear the horns on the track, when I heard the track Bear before I had written to it, it was screamed like some sort of superhero.
I know it looks like I got it all together. I know it seems like I can make it through whatever. It appears that I can do it alone, but you got it wrong. Yeah, you got it all wrong. Everybody needs a little help sometimes. I'm not afraid to cry out, swallow my pride, and I've been looking for someone who can handle all of me, not just part of me. Yeah.
It stemmed from a couple things. It stemmed from people, a lot of people at one point in my life right before I wrote this song were like, why don't you have a boyfriend? Like, why are you still single? Like, what? And it was like, is it weird that it's a choice to be single? Like, I don't know. I've been through enough that like I'm not just gonna date or be with somebody just to be with somebody. I'm fine being alone, but it's gonna take like someone pretty special to get my attention at this point, A, and B, like, I was also coming to the point to admitting that I couldn't do everything alone. That song is both of those things. Like, I can do fine on my own. I'm very capable of being independent, and I'm fine with that. But at some point, sometimes you want to have someone to fall back on and know that you can be vulnerable and be needy in a sense, but that it's not just going to be anybody. It's got to be someone pretty spectacular. So that's where that song came from. And every woman who hears the song is like, yes, speak it. I need a superhero. So, you know.